What is Sober Fierce? Erin's goal to motivate others to achieve and finding sobriety.
Hi, I'm Erin Frame, and I'm here with another episode of Sober Fierce. So I'm doing things a little bit differently today. I actually recorded this podcast probably about a week ago, and I sent it to a gentleman that's going to give me an outline so I can be a little clearer throughout my programs, kind of keep me on track a bit more. So if I tend to look to the right, I haven't quite learned the best way to keep it on the DL from y'all. So I'm excited. So today's episode is about what is Sober Fierce. It's kind of funny. We're going to really kind of delve into this today. One thing I did want to share is a little bit about what finding sobriety's been like for me, what got me there and what is keeping me there. And honestly, what I have to say on that, a lot of it is you, the people who are embracing it, who are, watching, reaching out. It's amazing how much sobriety or finding sobriety is not talked about. And I know I keep going back to that, and I'm sure all the people that have found a different way, to find sobriety might not totally agree with the way I'm going about it. But if anybody knows anything about me, it's that, especially as I found my sobriety, to be honest, I mean, I've always kind of been like this, but put it in your face, kind of, I got to put it out there, and I just got to be honest and real. And I know that by doing that, it'll help others. So, I actually had a day where I actually had 3 friends reach out that I hadn't spoke to in years, from all different walks of life, different places I've worked, different states. I mean, crazy. And all 3 of them told me about a different journey, that they're experiencing right now. One of them struggles, with alcohol and was reaching out to me for that, thanking me for putting, out this podcast and helping her kind of think about what it might be like to, tackle this monster that we all deal with. So that was really crazy. Another friend just reached out, and actually was talking about other things, that this whole Sober Fierce persona, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is such a great idea to be able to take on no matter what you're dealing with. So what is Sober Fierce? I did discover, after really jumping into this, that there were so many people, and I know I've mentioned this before, that are already on this journey, but they don't talk about it. And that's fine. I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to talk about it. But I do feel like by me talking about it, the one thing I'm noticing is it's giving people the opportunity and maybe the confidence, to take this on, this thing called sobriety. Because sobriety is, gosh, it's freeing, it's challenging. It's awful some days. Some days I just feel boring. So we'll probably bring that up in another episode, but I talked to some of my other friends who are sober, and they kind of get that same feeling because, when you're partying, you're partying. But that's a little bit about what Sober Fierce, what it is, why do I have to feel boring? I'm kind of, like I said just a few minutes ago, I'm definitely kind of an in-your-face personality. And when I came up with this thing called Sober Fierce, I thought, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, wow. Like, I feel like just saying it makes me stand up straighter. It makes me more powerful against whatever's out there that might challenge me, with this journey that I'm on. I am definitely loving the fact that I came up with this term. I totally, like I said, Googled it after I came up with it. My partner gal, Ren, who helps me with all kinds of my stuff, we got right on, everything to see if it was taken, because it just seemed like such an amazing term, and we found out it hadn't, we were like, that's all right, girl, that's you. So, it obviously, like, society sets us up to fail when it comes to, walking this path, and having the mentality that you're stronger than everybody else out there, kind of, you're stronger. You're the one that's going against the grain. You're the one that's going to have the better life in the end. You're the one that's going to accomplish more. All because you just have that fierce persona. You take on that fierce persona. Sorry about that, guys. My printer likes to make noise out of the blue. So one thing I did do is I ordered my first Sober Fierce hat, and I'll be posting pictures of it. But oh my gosh, it's a trucker hat. It's got my logo on it, and I should have had it in here, but I don't. I cannot tell you how exciting it was. I was talking to a good friend of mine about this, Katrina, and she's a master at what she does. She's into all kinds of like digital marketing and things like that. And she goes, it's like your armor, like your Sober Fierce, your hat is like your armor. And I totally was like, oh my gosh, it absolutely is like my armor. Like, it puts people in an interesting spot. So I wore it for the first time, and I kind of see people look at it. I really haven't had anyone ask me about it. I did have a friend who knew about it fall in love with it because it's such a cool hat. But I thought, I wear it everywhere. If I'm not wearing want to buy a house hat, I'm wearing Sober Fierce hat. So definitely statement pieces. So the hat, though, is really there to just tweak people's interest a bit, but also kind of protect you. Like when I go out there, I mean, yes, you're going to have those jackasses that are going to, well, why are you here if you're not, partying, or, I sound like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure there. If that doesn't date me, I don't know what does. But it gives me that strength to be able to hold my, my soda water with a splash of crayon and lime and rock that hat. One thing we talked about too was maybe coming up with like a bracelet, or some kind of a necklace, something that you can wear out of the house every day, even when you're dressed up, and just be able to carry that fierce persona with you. Sometimes it's hard to do that, but if you look down at your wrist or you look in a mirror at your hat, you're going to feel like, hell yeah, I've got this. I've got this. And it is kind of crazy. I think about like Wonder Woman, I think about Superman. I mean, every day by day, he's in a suit, but he puts that suit on, and he's a different person. I mean, his whole demeanor is different. So you could be Supergirl, Superman, or you could just be Sober Fierce. So I think that's pretty exciting. Like I said, I do plan on, seeing, showing that. Look at me. I don't even know what I'm doing with this stupid paper. So I'm going to get better at this, I promise. But I figure I just need to get a podcast out, and I'm not going to worry too much about it. So, another thing is just advertisers in general. They obviously market to everybody, and you see this like size 2 girl, if even that, with her perfect body and her perfect this, drinking a beer. Like, oh my gosh, like maybe a beer, I mean, I was actually very small when I was drinking at one point, and it's because I wasn't eating. I mean, I was eating, but I was like, in my mind, I was thinking, I'm drinking about 1,200 calories a day. Seriously, I was, and trying to compensate for that. So I used to get that a lot. Well, you weren't heavy. I never thought that you were, drinking so much, because people would think that, So, just fighting addiction is super challenging. One little thing, every addiction you beat, it just gives you so much more confidence. I used to have quite a addiction to gambling. My parents probably don't know this, but they do now. My husband and I, we would several times a week. Oh gosh. This is many, many years ago, but we would, get in the car, and it was like all we knew how to do. Let's get in the car and go to the casino. And if not, I'm sitting at home and I'm jumping out of my seat. I'm climbing walls. And I'd smoke cigarettes. So I'd smoke, I'd gamble, and I'd drink. And then we'd drive back from the casino, which is the opposite side of town. Always felt fine. Yay, feel fine. Not the same as, not having alcohol in your system. But one day I decided, you know what? I'm not going to smoke anymore, because I smoked years before. And the only time I'd ever smoke was when I went to the casino. And I said, I can't smoke anymore. This is terrible. I lost my grandma to lung cancer, my uncle to lung cancer. Smoking is, I mean, I've watched what it can do, and it's horrible. So one day we went to the casino and I didn't smoke. And it was the weirdest thing. I had no desire to gamble. Of course, the drinking didn't go away, but I kind of felt like for a long time, like I was down to my last vice, you know? Oh, I just drink. I don't do anything else. So I think a lot of people hold on to that in a way. It's like, well, I've gotten rid of all these other things in my life, you know? But I'm here to tell you that you can get rid of all of that in your life. And between this podcast and hopefully this sober, fierce thing, you know, this attitude you take on, this persona, whether you wear it and show it off or it's just in you, I really think that we can kick all these crazy bad habits, right? Why not? So I guess, you know, I'm just so excited to be able to share my journey. You know, I really am. And I really hope that you'll all jump on this Sober Fierce bandwagon. I have a lot of cool stuff going on. You know, I would love it if you would, and I'm going to ask every single time. I do have a Sober Fierce Instagram page, a Facebook page. I do have YouTube. If you can at least maybe subscribe to, you know, my Sober Fierce podcast, that would be great. If you could, you know, like my Instagram and Facebook page, that would be awesome too. Just so you can kind of stay up to date on the things I'm doing, watch my podcasts. I do plan on starting a Facebook group, groups are awesome because it's not about just me posting like motivational stuff. It's actually about having conversation, you know, and I would love to talk to more people and hear more people's journeys and help. Maybe we can all like help people with challenges. You know, there's a lot of really great podcasts and things like that out there. If you do get a chance, not just my podcast, but one thing, or my Instagram page, when you're on there, there's a lot of really awesome other Instagram sobriety pages out there that I'm just getting so much motivation from. There literally is a whole another world out there of sober people. And it's just mind-boggling to me that it's just like, for example, they're opening a bar in Denver. It's a non-alcoholic bar. I mean, why have we waited so long? And how cool is that? You don't have to go and just get ripped to have fun. I just imagine being in a place with all sober people that actually like want to meet people and talk to people and not pick someone up in a bar when you're drunk, you know, not making good decisions. So I think it's just the beginning for our, you know, sober, oh gosh, what do you want to call it? Sober movement, I guess. So yeah, so lots of cool things going on. And I will try to get a couple of these scheduled. And that's about it. So until next time, find your Sober Fierce. And if you can't find it, reach out. Let's find it together. That would be really cool. So, all right, guys, peace out.
Listen to more episodes by going to soberfierce.com.